I bought this repossessed Midnight Express center console performance yacht that supposedly didn't run.
Everybody's looking at it like a refound boat. Now that doesn't mean it has to be refound.
After digging into, I found a major issue that stopped the boat from running altogether. Off. The only one connected is a corroded battery.
Alright, what does that tell us? He said that means it runs good.
But since then, I've been slowly bringing this boat back to life by building a DIY paint booth. We're inside of one of the sides, all taped up, no air coming in. All this here, and underneath the motors. Painting the back of the boat, and slowly working through all the problems one by one. So we haven't gone through these quad 400Rs yet, so there's definitely a lot more to uncover with this boat. Right when things are actually coming together, I accidentally backed one of these motors straight into concrete.
Nico broke this himself. Want to explain this?
I'm an idiot. And I have these motors down, and my driveway has a little bit of an incline. So this skeg, this one in particular, hit the driveway. It's just gonna scrape, not a big video, just a little. No, it went and knocked the entire thing off the bottom of the boat. I have a TIG welder. We're going to TIG weld all of this back up. All right, what's up? So I broke this off my boat. This is a skeg. I was driving it down the driveway and I broke it off. Well, I'm an idiot. Didn't lower the motors down because I didn't, or raise them up because I didn't know how low they were. We gotta fix it. Now, that caused me to buy this, a 220 Omni Pro Harbor Freight welder, quite expensive. Now I have to weld this back to my boat because I had this quoted to fix it over $1,000. Why not figure out how to do it myself? So that's what we're doing. How do the welders do this so good? Just spin these things like it's nothing. So the first thing we have to do is put this thing on an edge. So you see how this is flat up and down? So we're gonna cut it with the grinder down on the side to give us a little area to fill in with, so that way it's stronger as compared to just welding this side. All right, so got it grinded down like a little bit so you can just kind of see what I'm doing here. This thing is really hot. So you can see the edge of it right here being grinded down. So I just have to keep doing that until we get closer to the one side, and then we can just tack it with the spool gun. All right, so we got the hood on, we got our gloves, we got the piece, we got to turn on the gas, we got gas on. Now we got, I think the settings correct, it's what it looked like on the inside. We got the spool gun up here. Actually, we probably want to grind it a little bit. We got it all rigged up. We got it all hooked up with vice grips and everything. I'm not gonna weld with it on camera because I do not want to mess up my expensive camera. Before the welders in the comments get excited, yes, I know, stack of dimes. But a grinder and paint make me the welder I ain't. Now you might be wondering, how do we get it to look like this one? We have to grind my amazing welds down so that way we can make it flat and paint over it. And I did, I made it look pretty good. It's a little bent, like it has a broken nose, but we're gonna fix that. Heating aluminum's different than steel. You can actually heat it up and bend it back straight. But I got it pretty hot for what I thought hot was, and I guess I didn't even get it close to what it was supposed to be at. This adjustable wrench is gonna give me the leverage that I need to bend it, but not in the way that I really want to bend it. You'll see. Like I said, aluminum heats a little different than steel. So what I did is broke everything I just did. But it's okay, I know a little trick that I can do to be able to fix it without taking it all back apart. So I'm gonna heat it up and grind out where I broke it, so that way I can lay some dimes in there and it'll be strong and won't break again. And you would think I would film that while pissing off my neighbors at 12 a.m. But, so this is how nice we got them to look. So I just need to sand it. I put some filler on it, filler on these ones too. Sand them down, make them smooth. This one we had to fill in the front section here. It's all good. All these look new. Now this one looks good. I think this one's either replaced or just not messed up, but Yeah, this one looks no problem. No bends anymore. It's all straight. Sand off all this stuff, get all the paint fixed. And yeah, and then we'll take the zincs out of here, right up here. Get the props off so that way we can tape the whole thing back off. We'll take the zincs out, clean out these little areas right here, and then sand these up. And I'm actually gonna paint them. I did get new seat deck for this thing, and as you can tell, we have a little bit of an issue right there. We have to fix this, and the guy's coming in 20 minutes to install it. So we have to literally rip all this stuff up here, all this stuff here. All right, I'm pretty confident that we can get all this stuff done. You have to pull all this stuff up, and it's kind of scary. What color do you think I'm gonna use putting it back down? This is the area that I'm scared to cut. This front seat moves by a motor, and if I cut it in the wrong spot, the new pieces might not lay correctly. So I'm gonna leave it for him to actually cut it so that way I don't mess it up. And based on the way I bent that skeg, we're definitely not gonna take any chances. SeaDeck is a foam-based material that goes on the floor of boats for you to have comfort and grip while you're on the water. The reason why we're swapping out on this boat is because around this center console, because of the color of paint and the sun cooking on it, it actually will warp it up because it gets so hot. So our only problem is we have to leave it here like this because the installers are coming to take and install the new piece here, but they're gonna have to cut that because if I cut it wrong, I don't trust myself that I'm gonna cut it the right way that they want. So yeah, it's gonna be a process. And that glue stinks. That thing smells bad. Just like the other side, we're gonna rip up these two pieces and get it ready for the installers. And no, what you're seeing there is not mold. That is the area that's warped up multiple times and the glue has completely dried. That almost all the way up. In saltwater, your biggest enemy is corrosion and barnacles, and we have both here. So what we have to do is get these things prepped so that way we can paint them. And that means clean out all these little areas where barnacles have grown into. This is our water intake for the engines, and if that's not clear, our engines could overheat and do all sorts of things. We have to start by removing the props and the zincs off the back of these motors. So removing these props is one nut and then we just lift them off. These are 4-blade props that come factory with these motors. Now you can swap these out for racing props and you can get upwards of 80 miles an hour, but that's just way too fast for me. To put that in perspective, think of the fastest jet ski you've ever seen somebody fly past you on and then make it a school bus size. Now I'm removing zincs. These are the things that protect my motors from electrolysis. If I don't have these on the motors, then my engines will pretty much turn to dust. Salt water will pretty much eat at anything, but electrolysis is also the big killer. I need to knock all the barnacles and the growth off the bottom of these lower units and sand them to make them smooth like this. But I didn't have all the right tools to fit in the small areas to clean up all the corrosion and the barnacles from these different sections on the motor. That means we get to take a trip to our favorite place, Harbor Freight. So we went to the store and got us a paint gun. Now this was 20 bucks. It comes with a pressure regulator on it and the top to it, whatever you call this thing. I used to paint Cummins engines when I first started working on boats. We learned how to take out pistons. So I am familiar a little bit with it, but I don't really know the gear. I didn't purchase the stuff, they just had it. We're gonna see how this turns out. I'm hoping it turns out good because if it messes up, I'm gonna have to redo it every single time because I'm like, if it's not perfect, I don't want it. I want it to look good. So we got this and we also got this for this. So you can see that right there. All of this whole section right here of this car is gonna have to be replaced, but that's for another video. So we can't use this until we actually get all the lower units sanded and cleaned and everything. So that brings us to this. Harbor Freight, you're a lifesaver. Absolutely love you. So they have this right here, which is like Scotch-Brite pads, if you've ever heard of them. So you pretty much just screw this into your screw gun. So we have this right here. So what you do is you take this, it comes with this, and then you get this, and then these you can just purchase anywhere. So these aren't metal, they're like a Scotch-Brite pad. So what you do is you take them, you screw them into this, and then you take this and you screw it into this. Make it tight, it'll tighten because everything spins clockwise on it. So, right, clockwise, I think so. And use it like that. So the reason why you want to use this over this right here, this will tear up your props and everything. All right, so I'm joking. Got a lot of things. I got this, I got more pads, I got a sander, I got more sandpaper, and for the barnacles that are in the tight areas, I have this, which is a just flathead and a hammer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this on the inside pieces of the places we don't really want to scratch too deep. This lower section down here is the vents where it picks up the water to go to the engine. So we have to just make sure it is all clean, no barnacles in there. And then this front section up in here where the trim motors and everything are and the rams are, we're gonna clean all the barnacles and everything up from there, which we use the wire wheel for that one as well. So yeah, we'll get going. Barnacles are actually a living creature. They're related to crabs, lobster, and shrimp, but they specifically grow on things, unlike crabs where they just swim around in the ocean. They're common on pilings and floating things in the ocean, but when you pull them out of the water, they dry up and get really hard like shells, and they stick themselves to these surfaces, and that's why it makes it really hard for me to get it off with the sander. But 2 sanders, wire wheels, and like 200 pads later, we finally got the lower units cleaned up the way we want them. All right, something I will say is that it is pretty time consuming. All the barnacles are really hard to get off of the actual unit itself. So like in this area here, all these little pieces, they're rock hard. So like there's a way that you can actually, they have a wash that you can put on it. You coat it pretty thick, it's all heavy chemicals. I just don't have any, so I'm not gonna do that. This one is the worst that's left. And then this one on the back side right here really isn't that bad. You can see this section right here. We just have to sand up the base of these up in there and then sand up that side, which is over here. So we just need to sand up all these little sections in here. And then gotta get this area right here all cleaned up, this area right here all cleaned up, and then this area right here all cleaned up. So other than that, I mean, you can see how clean these things are coming out. You couldn't even really tell that I welded this entire thing and how to make this whole lower section myself. So that's actually insane. Once these are done, the uppers, the motors on these need to get serviced. We're gonna check the fluids on the bottom of the lower units as well, make sure there's no milky oil. If there was like the oil was white or gray inside of here, water would have to get into this lower unit. Yeah, we'll check it out, see what happens. All of these things are done, they're all good to go. We are going to finish wire wheeling the rest of these inside trim systems right here, all the rams and everything, but other than that, we're good to go. And this boat's ready to be painted, serviced, and that's it.
You've done nothing.
What do you mean I haven't done anything?
Oh, you sanded it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So this happened. This is motor oil leaking out of a little weep hole right there that randomly started from nothing. So hopefully that's not a big deal. So it's not this lower unit. I mean, it should be blue oil unless somebody filled it with the wrong stuff, but that's definitely old engine oil, probably from bleed off from something. I mean, it's kind of what you get when you buy something used. So we're painting these. I'm gonna tape off all this stuff around here, all the way around these, like coming around here and everything. I'm gonna paint the bottom of these black, the rest of it all black and everything. I got it all covered so that way we don't get overspray on anything else. Now I have painted before. I used to build Cummins engines for Wicked Tuna. But I haven't done it in a long time. So if I don't get this mixture correct, then all of this will be for nothing. So this is similar to the paint I used to spray on the engines. It's a one-step paint that doesn't require clear coat. I chose this because it's a lot more protective from sand or barnacles in the water. Painting outside, especially in the night, with a light is going to attract every single bug you could possibly think of. So let's hope once these things dry, there's no bugs on them. So I'm cleaning up these props. They don't look too bad, but they have a little bit of buildup on them, and we want these things to look shiny when they're in the water or you're towing the boat around. I found a little trick. If I take a little bit of polish and then use these pads that I got from Harbor Freight, then I can clean the buildup off of the props and polish them at the same time. So I got this one all cleaned up and it looks pretty nice. It's all polished and everything. We just gotta service these things, change all the spark plugs out of them, change our oil filters, change our fuel filters on them. I actually have to hook the fuel lines back up because I disconnected them. Do have to figure out our oil leak coming out of this one. It's definitely pretty heavy. I only noticed it after I welded on it. I looked it up and it says it's coming from up here on the motor, but it could be coming from something down here, leaking right here. That means that it could be a drive shaft seal. So hopefully it's something simple. That would really suck if we have to rip apart this entire engine. So they turned out pretty good. We actually had no bugs fly into our paint, thank God. And we didn't have to do anything really to make them shine like this. This is pretty much one spray, no clear coat, nothing else. They look amazing. So while I was doing the lower units, the C-Deck company stopped by and installed the new pieces. They look really good. They do look different in color, but that's only because these old pieces are actually really dirty. And once we clean them, they're gonna look great. And they match the pattern perfectly. Got it all finished and all fixed.
Yes, I did.
You would never know that I broke this entire thing off the bottom of it. Next, we're gonna get into these engines and hopefully they look as good on the inside as they do on the outside. See you then. Look at that. That sucks.